Hey, what's up, everybody? True Boxing here. Thank you for coming back to get hit with the truth. So today we're doing a what's next on Gustavo Lemos, the 140-pound contender following his controversial decision loss to Richardson Hitchins as they fought in an IBF final eliminator to determine who gets the next title shot for the IBF title at 140. Now, before we get into that, if you could smash the like button, leave a comment, or subscribe to the channel, I really do appreciate any and all support that I can get as I continue to build my channel here. So, Gustavo Lemos, you know, I'm disappointed in the judges because, yes, he got outlanded by a few punches. Excuse me. But the effective aggressiveness was there. He was pushing the action. And again, when I saw that 117-111 card get read, I automatically assumed it was for Lemos, that he won the fight. Because he seemed to just be relentless and non-stop in there and land the better punches, you know, and even hurt Hitchins. So I really thought that Lemos was going to pull that win off. And considering he came in a decent underdog, a lot of people thought Hitchins was going to cleanly outbox him. It was a disappointment in terms of the call because I thought he won the fight. But moving forward, the big question now following the loss is what's next for Gustavo Lemos? Well, first, the IBF, his highest ranking is number 6 in the IBF, which is a shame after the way he performed. I think he deserves better than that. I'm hoping the IBF releases a decision that they are ordering a mandatory rematch between the two. But I don't believe they're going to do that. So now, what's Lemos going to do following this? Well, the one thing we know is that he's got a ton of fans now, and his style is fan-friendly. So let's run through the top 10 and just outside the top 10 and see what's possible for Lemos next. We start with Devin Haney. Not a bad option for Haney, but Haney is also in mandatory mode, and I believe the WBC is going to order Haney to fight Sandor Martin, and Sandor Martin next, who is his mandatory number 1 ranked contender. So I don't believe Lemos gets the shot, but to be honest, I wouldn't be surprised if the WBC decided to order, since Martin never officially won an eliminator, I wouldn't be surprised if they ordered Martin to fight Gary Antoine Russell in a final eliminator. He's the WBC's number 2 contender, and then allowed Haney to make an optional defense against a guy like Lemos, because Lemos has an attractive style. Haney might just want to come back and shake it off by fighting a guy like Lemos. Now, I think there's bigger names and fish to fry for Haney, especially after a loss. I think Haney's the type that wants to come back against a bigger name. But again, I would not be surprised if he fought a guy like Lemos, because Lemos fought his ass off and he would be deserving. But the fact that he did lose, I think Haney would stay away from that fight. But I don't think he'd be afraid to take it if it made sense for him. So that one's an interesting one. Then there's Teofimo Lopez. I'm kind of in the same boat about a Teofimo Lopez fight for him, but I also think he could fight somebody like you know, I think Lopez would go for a bigger test or opponent, or if Lopez follows through with fighting the Steve Claggett in June, I think the WBO is going to order him to fight Arnold Barboza late in the year, and I think he'd rather go after that fight. I think he probably views Barboza as less of a challenge now than a guy like Gustavo Lemos. So I just don't think Lopez goes for the fight with Lemos. Then there's Josh Taylor. Interesting bout. I would love to see it, but I think if Taylor beats Jack Catterall at the end of May, he's just going to want a bigger fight after that, because Taylor's kind of been there, done that, and I don't think he'd want to risk it after beating Catterall. I don't think he'd want to risk a potential title shot because he is a name. He's a former undisputed champ. I don't think he'd want to risk it by fighting a guy like Lemos next. Then there's Jack Catterall. This one's interesting. I think if he beats Taylor and he has to continue to wait for his title shot, I think he'd be down to fight a guy like Lemos. Lemos might go for it too because of his style and because he's trying to get back in the mix. And I think it's an easy fight to make on DAZN. So I do think there's a possibility of this one. If Catterall beats Taylor, which is somewhat of a 50-50 fight, to be honest. Then there's Jose Ramirez. Not a hard fight to make, and I think it would be a fucking war, to be honest. And if I'm Golden Boy and Oscar De La Hoya, if Ramirez gets by Rances Barthelemy with flying colors, I think this is a fight you bring to Fresno, you know, which is local in the second half of the year, and you're looking at a fucking barn burner. And the winner that comes out of that is on a fast track to a title shot, in my opinion, in 2025. So I do think there's a possibility of this one, because both these guys, I think, would be down to fight. Then there's Sandor Martin. I don't see it. I think Martin is going to get the shot that he wants at Devin Haney next. And if not, I think the WBC is going to order him to fight in a final eliminator to earn that mandatory shot without doubt. So then there's Regis Prograis. Wouldn't be a bad option. I'm not sure Prograis would want Lemos following his loss, his beatdown loss to Devin Haney. I don't think he'd want to get in there against a guy that comes at you the way Lemos does. So I'm going to lean towards a no. Subriel Matias, the IBF champion, great matchup. I would have loved to have seen it. Disappointed that we're not going to get a chance to see it, at least next. If Lemos beats Liam Paro, he's either going to have to face Richardson Hitchins in a mandatory title defense, or he's going to unify belts. So I don't see that one. Speaking of unifying belts, there's the new WBA champion, Isaac Cruz. Cruz is going to fight Jose Valenzuela in August. I think timeline-wise, these guys are going to miss each other. If he beats Valenzuela in August, I think Cruz is probably going to fight Tank Davis, or have to make his mandatory finally against Ishmael Barroso. So I don't see this one coming together. Arnold Barbosa Jr., not seeing it. I don't think Arnold Barbosa wants to risk his WBO title shot, which is for Teofimo Lopez right now. I don't think you want to risk it by fighting a guy with the style of Gustavo Lemos. Gary Antoine Russell probably would be down for a fight like this, because Russell wants to fight anybody, but he's also a PBC guy. Probably a tougher fight to make, and I think it would have to be like a final eliminator to get these guys together. So right now, I just don't see it. Then some of the other guys outside of the top 10. We start with a rematch with Richardson Hitchins. I hope the IBF orders this. I don't think they will, but I would love to see this fight again. But again, I don't think they will, unless the IBF allows Matias to unify belts against another, another champion next. Then I think it's a possibility that Lemos and Richardson Hitchins gets ordered for a rematch. But to be honest, I don't think it's going to happen. Then you got Kenneth Sims. Not seeing it. He's a top-ranked guy. Kind of a bad matchup. I don't think he goes after that one. Ishmael Barroso, I mean, I don't see how Barroso is still not getting his title shot. He's probably getting paid a good amount of step-aside money. I would love to see these two guys' style go at it, because Barroso gets in there and bangs, but honestly, I don't see the fight coming together. Nestor Bravo, I'm going to lean towards the less likely on this one too. Not a big enough name. He is highly rated by the WBA, but Gustavo Lemos is not in the WBA. Then there's Rolly Romero. I mean, if Romero wanted the fight, I could see it, but I don't think he does, so I'm going to say no. And then Ryan Garcia is moving up to 147 most likely in his next fight, so I don't see that. So for Lemos, I think there's a lot of options, and guys are going to have to want to fight him, but he is an attractive fight now. I do think he can get right back in the mix and go straight to like an eliminator. I don't think he's going to have to take a step back and do like, build himself back up by taking a stay busy fight, especially after his recent performance. Somebody should want to fight him, and he should be wanting to get right back in against somebody decent. So really looking forward to seeing who that could be. And I think there's some good solid options at 140, which might be the deepest and best division in boxing right now. So we'll see what happens, but that's it. That's what I got. That's my what's next on contender, 140-pound contender, Gustavo Lemos, following his controversial decision loss to Richardson Hitchins in their IBF final eliminator. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, smash the like button, leave a comment, or subscribe to the channel. I appreciate any and all support. This is True Boxing. You've been hit with the truth.